What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video on how to install vanity cabinets. And if you enjoy the video, please be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment of what you think, and enjoy the video, guys. So we started work around 9:30, and I'm just going to show right here. I'm basically having the same reveal on the side. So if you have an inch to the wall, then you just do inch from the back to the front. Make sure it's the same, and then you just want to draw your circles for the plumbing. Then you get your hole saw bit, and for the small ones we use a 1.5. I'm not sure if you can really see it, but what you do is you start the hose from the back, and you got to make sure to drill from the inside, because if you drill from the back, it could chip in the front or the inside. So always pre-drill from the back and then just make the hole from the front. And then right here it's a 3-inch bit, but we usually use a 2.5. But you see that little cap on the plumbing, it's bigger, so for that one we had to use a 3-inch, and that's how you make the holes for the plumbing. And you want to make sure that the back of the cabinet is hitting the wall all the way. There's no gap. If you need to have a gap because it's not level, then it's okay, because the scribe will cover it. And on my previous video I was showing about the lines, how that's the studs. So noticed how on the lines you can see where the stud is, but I just pre-drill on the top of the cabinet, barely anything, to verify that the stud is there. And then you just want to drill if the stud is there. And I did a line above the cabinet because I had to raise it up about like 1/8, and that line is just to tell you if you are raising it or not. And then you just check the front and the sides to make sure that everything is level. And sometimes instead of crown molding they use 1x4, and what I do is I usually measure down from the cabinet 5/8 of an inch, and I basically go off that and make sure that everything is level. So the reveal should be the same and it should all be leveled. But if it's not the same, it's because you got to adjust the doors. In this case I didn't have to adjust the doors. And when you take measurements, you want to get like a scrap piece of 1x4, the same material. And what you do is, like, if you measure this crown molding or 1x4 first, then you just scribe the crown molding onto the cabinet, and then you take your measurement into the line. So you could either 45 your ends, or you could just leave it straight and butt up the 1x4 to the other one. And this corner cabinet didn't fit through the front door, so my father-in-law ended up thinking of putting it to the back. And we asked the people who were doing the driveway if they could help us out and bring the cabinet up for us, but it really did come in handy, and my father-in-law thinks outside the box to get it done. But right here I'm just marking for the fillers at the bottom. And on my previous video I said that most of the time it's 11.25, but on this piece it had to be 12-inch because it has to butt up to the other filler. So just keep that in mind whenever you cut certain things. The measurements might change, so it won't always be the same measurement. You always got to verify that the measurement is correct. And guys, look how perfectly that fits in there. So throughout the video you'll see that I'm putting up the like OK symbol, because I'm basically excited because everything was fitting perfectly and it was all coming along good. So I was just excited. And this is a good example of what I was talking about earlier. When you take the measurements, noticed how I'm butting up the 1x4 to the other 1x4. And it's up to you. You could totally cut it 45 and just measure regular. But in this case, I butted up into the 1x4. So I got that scrap piece and I scribed it onto the cabinet, or you could just measure whatever the width of the 1x4 is. But in this case, I just scribed it, and that was how I took my measurements. Now, when I add the shelvings, I usually check on each side because sometimes it has like stickers or is damaged or anything like that. And you always want to put that part facing up so it doesn't look all ugly at the bottom. And I usually put all the shelvings inside the cabinet they belong in. And when I go back and putty, I try to putty and add the shelving so it's all done at one time and I don't have to keep going back and forth. And also I putty all the screw holes while I'm putting everything else. So I go cabinet to cabinet and make sure everything is done instead of having to go back. And when I add shelving, I usually go up 5, 7, and 6 because I usually like to keep the shelvings at the same height. So that's what I usually do the shelvings at. So now you're going to see what a splice is. So a splice is basically when a piece isn't long enough, a material piece isn't long enough, so you have to put two pieces together. You basically want to make sure that it's as tight as can be so you're not able to see that it's two pieces, and line it up correctly. Make sure everything is flush, that the gap is good. And you're going to see right now that I puttied the splice as well, and honestly you can't even tell. Like, tell me if you can see that splice right now. I'm gonna zoom in, and honestly you can't even notice that there's two pieces. So that's what a splice is if you didn't know. Now right here I'm basically trying to show you, I know you can't see, but the wall is bowed so it's popping out. So in that case, what you're gonna do is that little 1x4 in the bottom of the cabinet you're gonna see right now, you basically unscrew it and break it off, because if you were to leave it on there, it would be popping the cabinet out from the bottom. So if the floor is also rough and it's not smooth like the rest of the floor, you also want to do this as well, just to make sure that the cabinet is level, because or else it's going to be unlevel and you're going to have to mess with it. So it's easier to just take out the 1x4. Now you just tie in the cabinets together, which it's a little close up of how to do it. You basically hit out the face of the cabinet to make sure that it's flush, and whenever you screw in the cabinet, it will get tight. So basically just make sure everything's level fill. If you need to take out the drawers or take off the door, which I did there, do whatever you need to do just to make sure that the face is flush. And I'm going to show you the bit. I think it's 964 is the measurement of that bit, and that's basically the same size as a screw. So when you pre-drill, it won't be too big for the screws. So in my previous video, I was talking about the sides, how they pop out about 1/2 inch to 1/4 of an inch. Well, in this case, this is what I was talking about. So when you measure, each side has 1/2 inch of a filler on the side. So the gap is going to be 1 inch. So when you measure, you want to make sure that you take those into consideration. So this is a finished product, guys. If y'all enjoyed the video, be sure to smash the like button and leave any questions in the comments. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments so I could read them, because I always want to improve my videos. So if there's something y'all want to see, leave it in the comment and I'll be sure to try to add it or try to change up the video. If y'all want a point of view video or if y'all want a different angled video, be sure to leave a comment. And yeah, guys, hope y'all enjoyed. Peace.